Okay, hello superhero friends. Let me just, I didn't have this angled the best way for what I'm trying to do today, but that's okay. We will figure it out as we go along. So, welcome to the live. I'm your host. I am Kida from Atlantis, and so we're going to do some storylines today that have to do with Atlantis. So that's going to be fun. I'm going to actually give. Oh my goodness, let me pull up some stuff while you guys settle in and come into the live stream. Welcome. It's been a little bit of a hot minute. I've been dealing with some technical difficulties here in my home studio, mainly like my Wi-Fi drivers were all messed up, but I've seemed to have resolved it. So we are going to do some story time tonight. I'm not going to do a specific comic book like I usually do. This is going to be more about Atlantis in general, because Atlantis as a place exists in a few storylines, different animes, different comic books, as well as different movies it's mentioned, as well as Hearts in Atlantis, that movie that I talked to you guys about before, which features Anthony Hopkins and, oh my goodness, I forget his name, Anton. He was in Star Trek as well. But hold on, let me just pull up some. Oh yeah, I don't have any speakers attached to this. However, I can still bring up Atlantis, The Lost Empire. So there's a movie who I'm playing as Kida. So she is a really cool character. I love her in that movie. It's almost like this lost, forgotten film by Disney. Let's see here. Okay, perfect. 2001. It came out in 2001. So what we're going to do is, so we're going to do basically a read of, this is, oh my gosh, let me mirror this. Okay. So the read that we're going to do tonight is The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, The Tempest. And I'm not going to read through the whole thing, but if you guys are not familiar with Alan Moore has also written Watchmen, V for Vendetta, and a couple of comic books as it comes to like Superman, as well as Promethea, which I've read on this. I've read Promethea on this channel before. The TikTok algorithm never likes it when I read certain spicy topics. So if you want to get my full unabridged reads, then please do join the Cosmic Comic Book Club. I have a Patreon finally set up that is linked to my Discord server. So I will have the rules and all that kind of stuff squared away. I also game. So if you guys play online, I would love to game with you guys if you're gamers, because there's a huge way in terms of like modeling reality, I think, that video games give us. And just like with any entertainment that you have or you choose to let into your personal field, oh my goodness, I should have brought, you know what, hold tight friends, I'm going to get my other laptop just so we have some music as well. So you have Atlantean vibes. I have a song by Closey, which I really love, called Secret Place, which reminds me of like Atlantean warrior princess vibes. So I'm going to grab that to be like our intro song for this night. Let me see. I'm going to put this here. This is the read, and I'll have Luna just keep track of it for now. You guard the story. I'll be right back. Hey, Wolfies. All right. Where are we? Oh, okay. So thank you for having some patience. As I saw some likes there. Mart, thank you for liking the live while I went and retrieved my laptop. So I'm going to pull up the song I wanted to pull up. And I hope you guys are having a wonderful Friday night. As well as, it was my 40th birthday yesterday, so that was kind of fun. I was celebrating that and getting recalibrated and all of that kind of good stuff. So I think we'll also do a card reading a little bit later on in this live, so do stay tuned for that. Let me just pull this up. So if you're not familiar with Closey, she's a really wonderful DJ. I love her vibe. Closey, if you're watching this, I would love to do your music video. Get at me. And also, when it comes to Atlantis, let's go into some Atlantis storylines. Kida from Atlantis is, I mean, it's the 2001 animated movie by Disney. I don't know if you can watch it on Disney Plus. I don't really stream much. Okay, let's see here. Cucaracha. Okay, I'm going to pull up the song Secret Place. Okay. Also, let me see. Astrologically, I'm gonna talk about some stuff a little bit later, but what did my brain just project into reality? An Atlantean warrior princess, my friends. And I have a feeling there's a few more of you guys out there who have had dreams of Atlantis. So I wanted to talk about that in just a second, but today is the 25th, so we have a triple conjunction in the sky, right? I have my April 2025 top astronomical events. So on the 22nd, we had this big meteor shower. On the 24th, which was my solar return, we had Venus at its brightness. And then we have a triple conjunction today, and then we're going to have 4 planets aligning on the 29th. And we have a big new moon in Taurus coming up. So there's a lot of cosmic events coming up. And realistically, how you make sense of a lot of this stuff is through story time, right? So storylines are how we are able to derive meanings into things. So Secret Place, oh, here we go. Gotcha, Closey. What's my intro song? I have an ad block on my YouTube, but it gets mad at me for using it. I'm like, come on now. Until I get sponsored. Oh, I love this song. It's so good. Wait for the flute. I made a dance to this, actually. Okay, so like I don't flag the TikTok algorithm. Oh, it gets better. Love it. I love this song so much. It gives me chills when I hear it. I'll make a dance to this later. I'll share it later. No worries. 5, 6, 7, 8, and okay. I love this song so much. Okay, so this is going to be, oh, happy Friday, Oliver. Welcome to the live. We're going to do actually a story time. I just wanted to intro the live with this song because it reminds me a lot of Atlantis. It gives me that vibe of an Atlantean warrior princess in a faraway place under a large oak tree that has lived forever, and you're just dreaming about a different time, a different place, perhaps this time, this place, dreaming about, I don't know if there's an official music video for this. It's gonna pick up, actually. Oh, so what we're gonna read tonight is going to be the Tempest. So, but not the whole way through. I'm going to give you guys some background. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I get my bong ready. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. This is a perfect Tempest. This is a trippy AF story. So The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, that movie was not very good. However, Alan Moore actually got I realized this, that Alan Moore actually got some flack for writing the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, because apparently it was like, oh, you're not using, hey, Uber Dad, thank you for the follow, by the way, and welcome to my live stream. So I am Rachel Z in regular sober reality, but on these lives, I love to play as different characters in stories that I love to tell you guys. So typically they're comic books, because I love comic books very deeply. It's kind of a nerdy thing. I love video games as well. So I love cosplaying as characters that I personally resonate with in stories. And then I like to tell those stories, retell them to you guys, usually like, you know, in the medium of like when I was growing up in the 90s, we didn't have phones and this newfangled stuff. So when teachers would, it would be a big deal when teachers would read a story out loud to you in front of class. And so this idea of oral traditions, oral storytelling, your throat chakra as you are telling a story, it's a different experience. Telling a story out loud versus reading a story and having that just in your head, right? And I've realized that through sharing these stories with you guys, that like, even though I've read one a million times, when it comes to doing it out loud, like live, it's a totally unique experience. It was good in the 90s. I'm biased, of course. But a lot of good movies came out in the 90s. When I look back, and I've been rewatching a lot of older movies because we're starting a show, me and my hubby are starting a new show on Patreon specifically, and it's called the Esoteric Movie Review. So, you know, like, I'm not going to go into definitions of esoteric, but movies themselves are a new medium by which to tell a story. So back in the ancient world, philosophers would use fables and stories by which to discuss, you know, things like honor and love and life and this reality, right? So the really like ineffable concepts of things are expressed through story. And so us in like this, you know, technologically advanced world, we have movies, we have basically like moving light and sound that's encapsulated, where like before it would be like theater. And there's something beautiful about live action theater, which is why I love doing these live with you guys, because, you know, you can plan for it, you can have a script, but there's always something special about the actual live experience. Oh, you grew up in the 90s too, Uberta. Do you mind me asking what year you guys were born, if you don't mind me asking? So the reason why I bring this up is because I was born 1985, and I give you, I recommend all of you guys, like, look at the year of your birth, look at what won the Oscar that year, and look at what movies came out that year, because you share a lot of those creative juices in yourself. And so learning about, Crisis on Infinite Earth, Supergirl, she died literally April 1985 when I came into form 40 years ago. So these are all signals from the universe, and my signals from the universe are not going to be the same as your signals from the universe. That being said, you're going to have, Uberdad 92. Okay, you are right on the cusp of the end of Pluto and Scorpio. So you're in such a nice, you're such in a juicy time, Uberdad, because you're in between generations. So I really do not subscribe to Millennial, Generation X. I don't know. What are the new ones? Alpha? Anyways, all of that stuff is nonsensical. If you look back to the roots of who came up with those generations, it's like some old guy in like the 60s who's like tagged it. And like, just because you tag it as something doesn't mean we can't evolve it, right? So I like to look at generations as more Pluto placement. So when you were born, all the planets in our solar system had their own positions in the sky just for you, right? And Pluto, because it's the furthest planet from us, takes the longest amount of time to go around the sun, right? So it makes sense that Pluto's going to stay in one sign for a certain amount of time and then go to another sign. And so Aries or Taurus. Hey, Contra, I'm a Taurus, but I'm an Aries rising. And so that's why, you guys, you're such a beautiful tapestry of a lot more energies than what your sun sign is. But it's good to know what your sun sign is too, right? It's all part of knowing thyself. And that's a great segue into what I wanted to talk to you guys tonight, because we're going to be reading through some parts, some sections I tagged out of this read. It's Alan Moore's The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. It's super OG. It's like old school comic book series. The way Alan Moore dictates, it's sometimes like a tongue twister, and I realize, like it's like a limerick or like certain poetry where it's got certain rhythm and meter, and sometimes I have to go back and reread it for it to have the appropriate cadence. So I welcome you guys to practice that with certain comic books. I feel like some of the wizards out there have encoded stuff for us other wizards. So like, hey, wake up. Hey, Contra. Yes, Taurus gang. When exactly is your birthday, Contra? Are you an Aries? Are you an April Taurus or are you a May Taurus? Because sometimes, remember, you are not just one sign, right? You are all of the signs. You just like a crystal. We're all reflecting that great, bright, wonderful light, and your own reflection is going to be your own unique lens on reality. And so we're going to bring this back to Shakespeare, the 10th. Oh, that's awesome. Amazing. Happy birthday. I like to say that you should celebrate your whole sign because it's like this level. As I said, we are all mirrors of each other. And so in our understanding of others, we learn about ourselves. So it's like this fun little play. So Shakespeare said, to thine own self be true. And I studied Shakespeare in university. I took a degree that was like, I know now why I took that degree, right? I took a double honors degree in English literature and psychology. So I did a thesis in psychology, and I did a lot of stuff around using books and story as a way to understand your cognition and also understand your personality, as well as I was very interested in like child psychology and how a child develops into being an adult. And also, if we know that time is not really real, like linear time is just a construct, right? You at 8 always exists, is always there, right? Even though like you're now 40. And it's important to realize that, like, even though you are in this lane right now, that all these other realities are also existing at the same time. It's kind of a mind F. And that's why I think psychedelics or other meditative states or different flow states are ways of us, eagle eye floating outside of the chessboard, the game board, and be like, oh, okay, I get it. And then now I'm going to go back to playing my role again. But it's nice to get some reassurance that there is a larger cosmic order at play. I know that in my heart of hearts, trust me. Okay, so Shakespeare, regardless of if you think Shakespeare was one guy or a bunch of guys, to me, I don't really think it matters. When you approach studying any kind of work, any kind of art piece, at least in English literature, this is just something I learned in school. I'll share with you guys as well, because it's about how you approach a work, right? So no different than how, 3 people, me and my 3 friends, we watched Fast and the Furious, the first movie, together in theaters, like, because we were car people, and Paul Walker was beautiful, and I love you, Paul Walker. So we went to that, right? But each one of you is going to take away a different meaning from that movie, right? You're going to have different characters that you love, different cars that you like the most, right? And so different takeaways from those movies. And that's because you're the one bringing that magic, that story, and bringing it to life in your own consciousness. So it's important to note that, right? That even though, like, playing Halo, we can all be playing the same game, but that game is going to feel super different based on you and your own choices. I got it. I got Atlantis, The Lost Empire. I couldn't remember. Oh, yes. Kida from Atlantis. So go watch that movie. It's very good. It's a sweet movie. 2001. Oh, yes, I will have a panel for the chat to jump into for the watch party. So join my Discord server. I am organizing it. Voice of One on here is going to be a mod. I've got Pokey, who's going to be a mod. If you're interested in being a mod, please do let me know. DM me. I'm organizing that stuff. I have a League of Extraordinary Beings membership, which is $5 a month, which is going to include all of like the base kind of membership stuff, like watch parties and like more of the spicier content, because I've realized whenever I just try to read Promethea or try to read some of these books, I'm like, they're just going to restrict me and get mad. I'm saying, okay, oh, Lolita, oh, Joyce, hey, how are you? I love you too, girl. And you're such, oh my gosh, Joyce, there are women in my life who I've met on the way who honestly like have made me who I am. And Joyce, you are definitely one of those ladies, right? She's a hair person, right? And so women and hair and putting together this persona, it all takes work, right? Even its beauty itself, in learning how to do your own makeup and all that stuff, it's an alchemy. It's a magic for women to hone and realize for yourself. Like, doing my own makeup is different than me doing makeup for someone else. And I just, you know your own face. Like, I have Asian eyes and I have other lips. So like, it's just like how I'm going to do that makeup is going to be different than other people, and your hooded eyes and all that kind of stuff. It changes things. So bringing that all back around to Shakespeare and these works of art, and you as a work of art, and what we want to define as art. Art is realistically like anything that we're pulling into creation from that etherical, magical realm through a lens of whatever medium we choose to use, right? So whether or not that's drawing or painting or orating or even just telling a story to a friend, that's a way of bringing that into life. And so harnessing the fact that each one of us are storytellers, and each of your lives will reside in the Akashic record in eternity as a life, as a story. And so, but you get to choose what story you get to live out. You really do have much more sovereignty over it. So Shakespeare's The Tempest, I wanted to read you guys and what did I want? The whole point of Shakespeare, what did I want to make? Oh yes, the fact that the author, or to me, and you guys can disagree with me on this, but to me, I don't really, knowing all this personal stuff about Shakespeare the man, whether or not he was a real person or not, does not influence the impact of Romeo and Juliet on me, or Twelfth Night, or their stories, right? I look at the work as standing alone. Artists, including myself, we are but conduits, right? It's a matter of just, I am a servant to the muses, right? So I'm just pulling from the ether down what my signal is pulling down, right? I think that's the best. Trippy Trap, thank you for that. Yes, I really feel like one of my past lives was from the star Regulus. And if you are familiar with Regulus, Regulus is one of the stars, the fixed star that rules Leo. Well, I mean, like the sun rules Leo, but there's also the star of Regulus. So I'm going to go into some of those like star stories in future live streams. But today I wanted to talk about all the different Atlantis myths. And if you guys have your own Atlantis myths, like Stargate Atlantis, remember that movie? Recommend you guys rewatch it. I never watched the show, but the movie itself has a lot in it about like hijacking of stories, right? You already have these myths and stories of like when gods walk the earth, and then you have like an alien hijack that comes in and is like, oh yeah, we're the gods. Oh yeah. And then you're like, but wait a minute. Are you? So it's this idea of realizing the divine within you, and also your deduction skills as it comes to realizing that no one deserves to be idolized by you other than you allow it. You allow everything into your reality. I just got like tingles doing that. Okay. Stay on track, Rachel. I got it. I have an Isis Oracle card deck, and I did a card pull today, and the card pull it was like divine intuition and like the Eye of Horus, and this idea of when you are called to do something, right? And you're going down this path, Dreams and other times in the physical. Oh yeah, dreams are, oh my gosh. Me and my friends used to do a lot of dream interpretation. Carl Jung had a book about symbols in dreams and how you can kind of interpret them, but dreams are just like tarot cards and just like stories. How the themes you get from them, and like I'm going to read you guys some quotes from Hearts in Atlantis, because some of those like hit me hard when I was watching that movie. So, but first, I want to talk about the Tempest and realize like the double entendre in stories and why that matters, right? I've realized lately, you know, Hollywood, it's dying, right? There's a lot of, it's not a bad thing, right? Everything has its natural rise and fall and cycles. But Hollywood itself has done a lot of like remakes, redos, all this kind of stuff, rewrites of things. Instead of giving ode to what has come before it, the biggest offender to me is like The Crow and Star Wars and that kind of stuff. So a lot of the new stuff doesn't give respect to what has come before it. And so the Tempest in this story is something that has to do with the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, but the Tempest in classic literature, Shakespeare, is also a play, right? So I'm going to read you guys a synopsis of the play, and then we're going to read a little bit from the book. Oh, that's very sweet. That's very I'm telling you guys, I was called here to help us awake to whatever our superpowers are supposed to be, like in a very practical kind of way. Like, yeah, in a practical way. Like, so you can actually do this stuff, so we can actually be empowered, and like we can actually have a little bit more fun, and we're not worried about things like survival and making rent and all that kind of stuff. That there should be a lot more abundance in this world. We've just gotten really, really confused, right? Hi, Squishy. How's it going? Oh, and I also have a P.O. box ready, you guys. So if you want to send me comic books to read, to help promote, or books or any of that kind of stuff, I have a P.O. box. I will share that. I just want to make sure like my boobies don't fall out. One sec. There we go. There we go. Okay, so the Tempest. You know, it's been fun though. I love looking the way I do and having people think that I'm dumb though. It's been a fun thing for me. Like Elle from Legally Blonde has been a fun character where it's like, oh, yeah, I'm just dumb. I don't know what the heck's going on. But I've realized there's an understanding in playing the game as well, but like ensuring that you don't confuse yourself and your true self with the masks you wear. The control over the global narrative is wild and kind of scary. It is kind of scary, but have you guys ever watched or read the book Three Body Problem? I think it's written by a Chinese author, which explains why it's not really character driven, it's more plot driven. I'm not going to get into the whole storyline of it. Go watch the show. I think it's on, I forget what's streaming it, but okay, here. Three Body Problem. I love sci-fi, by the way, you guys. So I'm a big sci-fi girl, and I feel like sci-fi should get a lot more analysis than it does. Okay, so I'm gonna. It's on Netflix, but let me just. The three body problem is something that exists in physics initially, which classical mechanics. The three body problem is to take the initial positions and velocities of 3-point masses that orbit each other in space and calculate their subsequent trajectories using Newton's laws of motion and Newton's law of universal gravitation. Unlike the two-body problem, the three-body problem has no general closed-form solution, so it's an impossible solution. The goat of sci-fi. Yes, Cody. So in that story, I'm not going to get into all of the major plot lines and all the different ways that it's so trippy. I would recommend you guys watch it. The book's a hard read just because I'm the type of person, I don't know if you guys are like this, I'm more character driven when it comes to story. I need to like care about characters, but I get why this story is more plot driven, just because of like the timelines are very long. Dune's kind of like this too when you read it, because it's like, oh my gosh, you're dealing with like hundreds of years. And so I'm Trippy. Okay. And thank you, Trippy, for the love in this chat and supporting the live for us magical beings, so that we can actually, you know, teleport, make some portals, fly, you know, kinetic stuff. I have not watched Battlestar Galactica, guys. I want to. I will. No worries. I had been going on this kick of watching Space 1999 season 1 and season 2 over and over again because the episodes are on YouTube. And Martin Landau in that was also in Ed Wood playing Bela Lugosi and does an amazing job. Go watch Ed Wood. It's actually a really good movie, just about a movie about making movies, and Johnny Depp's in it and does a really great job. The Land of Giants. I have not squishy this seal, but it's on my list. It's beautiful. Oh, thank you. He's helped me a lot though, you guys. I credit my husband for the reason why I'm able to do this, have this courage to like go live, be in cosplay, be my magical self, is because my husband gave me a breakthrough magic mushroom experience, and I broke through the veil and I saw everything, and then so I credit to, and also I really believe him when he says that he loves me. And I don't know, it's taken me a long time to love myself, and it's only through realizing that someone else truly deeply loves me, all of me, not just the body me, not just the me when you're on your good side, like all of you. It's like, oh, I am like worthy of loving myself. And just, he's done really a lot for me in terms of like, even like driving and stuff, telling me like, just trust yourself, because like we trust you, right? So, you know, honor that trust when other people trust you too. So I've learned a lot through loving my husband, and I welcome you guys to like the relationships in your life, like my sister and all that. You learn about yourself through that reaction. Oh yeah, for me, you can see them behind me, right? I owe them a lot. I owe them mushies a lot. And also, like, I'm very connected to earth and nature and talking to animals and like the birds and all that kind of stuff. Oh no, that's sweet. Oh, I've gone through, I will not go through my life story right now, but I've gone through some dark stuff, really dark stuff, and come out the other side. And so I can have empathy, right, for people who do terrible things. I can imagine why someone would have to be in a position, because, you know, when you get put into a certain position where you're like backed up in a corner and you're forced to do horrible things that are against human nature. And I do think that human nature, we've been lied to in terms of like, oh, we're like beastly and we're just like crap to each other. I'm like, no, in like proper circumstances, human beings are really kind to each other. We naturally like each other, right? Like want to hang out and party and stuff. It's the powers that aren't, that don't like what happens when we all get together and realize there's like better ways to do things. Like even the guy, A Beautiful Mind with Russell Crowe, that movie is about the man who came up with the formula of game theory. So game theory is mathematical in origin. I thought, like, I look at game theory as like a model of reality, where I'm like, oh, we're in like a game and we're rendering out our specific game. Yes, that is why they keep us divided. And I'm gonna go back to my original topic. So 3-body problem, that was the physics thing. I'm gonna give you guys the Wikipedia. The TV series basically talks about, it follows a diverse characters. I'm gonna go to the premise. So basically there's an astrophysicist in China, right? And China doesn't treat its people well, right? There's this whole concept of like governments around the world, regardless of what country you're in, usually kind of crap. You know, I feel like we should stop like fighting over like, oh, I'm this. I've also myself, my mom is Filipino and my dad is South African, and I was born in the prairies of Manitoba. So I am like, oh, I'm an earthling. That's what I most vibe with. So essentially, there ends up being an alien attack on Earth. And as a result, Sophons, yes. And this idea of the Sophons and quantum observation. So without in the show, there's this point in time where this girl who lives in China, she becomes so disenamored and so disillusioned with the human race because of the atrocities that have happened to her and her father, that she basically she receives this alien transmission, right? Which basically says, do not respond to this transmission. If you respond to this transmission, we will come and we will conquer you. We will come and we will attack you, right? So it must have been some nice, one of the Trisolarans, or I forget how they call what they call them in the show, but they're the Trisolarans in the book because it's three suns. The three-body problem is the issue that they're dealing with on their planet. So anyways, these aliens are like, oh, they send out a transmission basically being like, if you respond to this, we will come and we will conquer you. So this girl, she's like pissed off with the human race, so she's like, fine, come. You come here. And so it gets sent off. So long story short, these aliens come and they start to take over. And it becomes this big war because it's more than just like this physical thing, right? Where it's like, oh, there's nukes and there's bombs and like, there you go. There is this scene where one of the humans who's working with the Trisolarans, because you have sects of humans who are like, well, these Trisolaran aliens are coming, they're going to conquer us, but I want my own little area on this land, so I'll sell out the rest of my humans just so we can have a spot, right? So, anyways, like, I feel like that's happening here too. You know, like, people are working with nefarious forces just because like they're trying to like get their own survival, but you're like, listen, in the end, they're not good guys. We need to like stick together. So anyways, these guys who are working with the aliens, they have these conversations, right? And it's played by the guy who's like the High Sparrow in Game of Thrones. So I don't like him already. And so he's having this radio conversation with the aliens, and he starts to tell them a story, I think about like Little Red Riding Hood, right? And like the wolf. So he's telling them a fairy tale. And then the Trisolarans, they can't understand this. They're like, what do you mean? Like they're trying to put logic to what happens in Little Red Riding Hood, right? Where the wolf eats Little Red Riding Hood because she's like, Grandma, why is your nose so big? Or like, why are your eyes so big? The better to see you, my dear. Why is your nose so big? And why is your teeth so big? Oh, the better to eat you. So the Trisolarans are like, I don't understand this story. What is the point? And then the High Sparrow guy is like, well, it's a lie. I'm lying to you in order to tell the story. And then they're like, oh, a lie. We don't understand what this is. It's an untruth, right? So they're like, hold on for a second. And they like drop the line, and the High Sparrow's like, what the heck? What did I say? So they come back and they're like, oh, we did not realize that your kind, humankind, lies. This changes things. And they start to look at us as more of a threat, even the ones that are their allies. So they destroy the whole ship. Or like, I don't know if they destroy the whole ship. I think like the enemies do. I forget what happens at that point. But this is all to say that fables and story in the world of the three-body problem is used as a way to encode messages. So they end up with this wall facer project, and the Trisolarans, as a result of them being like, wow, we can't really trust humans, they send out these quantum sophons, which end up being ways by which they track people. And they're able to just, they monitor everything technology, so every email, everything. So they'll know everything before any decision actually gets made. So how do you combat such an enemy, right? So what ends up happening is they have a wall facer project, and they can, in the book at least, they don't end up doing this in the show just yet, but they tell stories and fables in which certain like military strategy is encoded, but it doesn't seem like anything because the Trisolarans can't understand things like fables. So long story short, in that science fiction story, hey voice of what, I wanted to say like stories have codes in them. And Shakespeare, to me, this is just my personal feeling on it, that Shakespeare is encoded, or Shakespeare's a cipher, rather. A cipher is something you use to encode other messages. So the reason why I say this is because you have acts and scenes and verses in Shakespeare, because it's a poem, right? So if in the show Silo, they have this whole idea of decoding messages where every seventh word you pay attention to. And then in the act 3, scene 3, right? And if you look in that act and scene, it's going to have a meaning in and of itself, but then you're going to have a line in there that you can maybe pull out and put against, like, for example, in Halo, Master Chief, he's John 1:17, and if you look up John 1:17 in the Bible, it means I am the way and I am the light. So there's some stuff there if you want to you probably have masterworks, and then you have works that are used as ciphers to map that out. And here's the kicker. I think that only certain beings with certain genetic codes are going to realize this stuff. Otherwise, other people are like, it's just a myth. And it's going to have a certain meaning for you. But 3 layers deep in certain works, I think there's going to be meanings really there for you. And I'm saying this because it's happened to me with certain things that are simple, like comic books. So I recommend you guys, pay attention to those books that are like the ones you keep revisiting. And maybe we can work together to decode some of them together. Because I think the Bible is also a cipher, the Nag Hammadi. Anything that's written in like verse and rhythm. Because any of those things is going to have math to it. It's just math presented in language, right? Because the syllables, right? And how you pronounce things, intonate things are all part of the magic of unlocking certain things, right? Yes, Cody, 100%. And Cody, it's so funny you mentioned that because I was watching a YouTube video the other day about how apparently they don't like each other, Alan Moore and Grant Morrison, even though I feel like their works, they not mirror each other, but you could take each part of theirs and use it to get more sustenance from the other pieces. So let's bring this back to the Tempest, because as I said, Shakespeare to me is a cipher work. Oh, Timmy, hey, welcome. So the movie Dr. Phibes rises again. Me and my hubby, we're going to do a watch party of it because it's available in full on YouTube, and so we can do that on Discord. But part 2 has a lot of like Egyptian esoteric stuff in it, like Volnavia, the goddess. He's trying to bring his wifey back to life. There's the water of life, all of that kind of stuff in there, and also like righteous vengeance and traps. But in that movie, he quotes Twelfth Night, right? So he goes, "If music be the food of love, then play on." And that's the opening line of Twelfth Night, which is a comedy in Shakespeare, and it's about like identity, and also I think She's the Man with Channing Tatum and Amanda Bynes did that as like a Shakespeare modernization. Oh, thanks, Timmy. So there was a whole time in the 90s, I think, where, was it the 90s or early 2000s, where I feel like they were taking Shakespeare and like modernizing it. She's the Man, 10 Things I Hate About You is supposed to be Taming of the Shrew. Like Hamlet. I hate Hamlet. I'm not the biggest fan of Hamlet. Sorry to everybody who likes Hamlet. I like Macbeth better. Thanks, TV Trap. If you guys have a favorite Shakespeare work, please do drop in the chat. I would love to know. Okay. I'm going to tell you guys the story of The Tempest by Shakespeare. A story of shipwreck and magic. The Tempest begins on a ship caught in a violent storm with Alonso, King of Naples, on board. On a nearby island, the exiled Duke of Milan, Prospero, tells his daughter, Miranda, that he has caused the storm with his magical powers. Prospero has been banished 12 years earlier when Prospero's brother, Antonio, also on the doomed ship, conspired with Alonso? I keep on saying that name wrong. I'm going to call him Al, to become the Duke instead. So Prospero and Miranda are served by a spirit named Ariel. So Ariel's a spirit in this. And Caliban, son of the island's previous inhabitant, the witch Sycoras. On the island, castaways from the wreck begin to appear. First is Alonso's son, Ferdinand, who immediately falls in love with Miranda. Prospero secretly approves of their love, but tests the pair by enslaving Ferdinand. After secretly watching Miranda and Ferdinand exchange vows, Prospero releases Ferdinand and consents to their marriage. So there's castaways. I'm trying to see oh my gosh, I actually have the whole scene here. Master, boatswain, here, master, what cheer? Good to speak to the mariners, fall to yarely, or we run ourselves aground, best steer. He exits. So it's about the tempest basically being the storm, right? And the tempest being a storm which brings stories together, right? And this idea of magic being involved in it as well. Alan Moore is a self-professed magician, and I do think that he does have a bumper book of magic, which is meant to be also like a way of how you do magic. I have read quite a few of Alan Moore's works. I own Watchmen. I actually also, what else? I don't think I own V for Vendetta, but V for Vendetta was a comic book, right? Before it became a movie. And I feel like a lot in those stories is very, very fitting right now. So without further ado, I'm going to read you guys a little bit of The Tempest. I'm going to read you guys some of the more trippy parts of this story. And I'll just show you some of the images. Because look at how trippy it is, right? All right. And like, I love like this old school comic circus, right? And this idea of the circus as being a model of reality. What are we in? The Tempest. Oh, love it. Illustrated masterpieces. So I'm going to read the way that Alan Moore writes. I've gotten better, but please bear with me. Thus is the course of Fable's river run, to flood with jewels the delta of its end. Here is the summit peak of Let's Pretend. Now is the story of all stories done, and we hail our imaginary friends before the curtain of the stars descends. Ooh, indeed, Alan Moore. I agree. I'm going to read this intro from Al and Kev. Wotcher, mates, it's your madcap masters of ceremonies, Al and Kev here, pretending to be two frankly baffled editorial employees working for British juvenile weeklies in the 1960s, who are themselves pretending to be unlikely English versions of Stan Lee and Jack Kirby for reasons they don't entirely understand, with the whole conceit thus being only comprehensible to elderly Indigenous men who can't get over their childhoods. And if that's not a proper mouthful, then we don't know what bloomin' well is. We wanted to kick off our brand new trouser-tickling Tempest serial with a regular feature celebrating the brutally mugged maestros of Britain's bright and breezy comic field, where better to start with that most genuinely glorious and organized crime victim of them all, the legendary Leo Baxendale. So you can see this. Oh, I love that. Yes. So this is like written in the 60s. So I love revisiting old works being in this consciousness now. I recommend you guys reread stories that you read when you were like 16 or 15 or 30, and like revisiting those worlds is going to have a different spin for it. And thank you, Trippy Trap. That's all that you should, I would say, revisit those comics or like divinate with them, right? Like being like, okay, like Free Comic Book Day is actually coming up, you guys. I think it's the first weekend in May. So use that time to maybe go out and, what's trouser tickling? I think we should start using that a little bit more, like the alliteration in our everyday speak. A lot of comic book heroes, their names are alliterations, right? Clark Kent, Lois Lane, Lex Luthor, that kind of stuff. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay, I'm going to just read from here because it's got a lot of beautiful illustrations. So why not? Why not? The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. And so remember, the League consists of figures from great works, right? So Mina Harker from Dracula, as well as, I think, what's his face? Oh my gosh. Who's the vampire hunter guy? Van Helsing. That's it. Van Helsing. It's got Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. That Dorian guy. There's a few. Nemo and the Leagues Under the Sea. That kind of thing. Okay, so we're gonna begin here. The Tempest. Let me put it in front. Oh my gosh, this is not. I didn't angle this exactly right, so I'm gonna move you out of the way, microphone. Okay, better. The Tempest 1, Farewell to Forever. So this is core. From what I hear, when King Aisha finally died in the mid-70s, Am's troops devastated this place. I thought Jan Nemo said she'd killed Aisha in Berlin back in the 1940s. Oh, Aisha's always getting killed. So, where do we go from here? Good question. We don't really have a support system anymore, do we? I'm not sure of our status with Prospero or the Blazing World. See, the Ring of Prospero. Prospero's from Shakespeare, so they're actually bringing this up. Tempest related, read Ilium and Olympos if you haven't already. Oh my goodness, Cody, thanks for that throw to me. That's a nice little breadcrumb. I have not yet already, so I will add that to it. Oh, thanks, Craig. Welcome to the read. I am Kida from Atlantis, and as you know, like Atlantis, that lost empire, she would have known a lot of these stories. Should have had the ultimate, the Library of Alexandria, whatever that amazing quantum library must have looked like. I have a sketch of it, actually, that I have somewhere. So let me see if I can drop the glare a little bit. Okay. Good question. We don't really have a support system. So, I'm fairly sure of my current state with MI5. Some sort of elimination list, I'd imagine. What about Lincoln Island? We've got on well, let me go here, with the Janhi most of the time. Yes, but isn't her grandson Jack the current Nemo? We haven't seen him since he was 7. Besides, Lincoln's a long way away. That isn't necessarily a problem, but Prince Dakar is the world's most dangerous terrorist. Huh. You obviously never met his great-great-grandfather. You're very sweet, Trippy Trap. Okay, so I'm not going to go into this because I'm honestly jumping into this. I don't really know the context of anything, but I wanted to show you some panels in here just because comic books, unlike any other medium out there, has the double meaning of both the words and the images, right? So even the old school way of illustrating, love it. Where is the part I wanted to read you guys the psychedelic part, basically. This would have all come out on a weekly, I guess, right? So some of these have remember the old 3D glasses kind of situation? So if you like the red and blue glasses or the drive-in movies back in the day. Oh my gosh. This is William Shakespeare. Oh my gosh. I'm going to read that to you guys because it's got, look at this. All right. Let's do it. Me too. I love the art because it feels like magic. I've been doing my own digital painting and stuff, like, because I'm working on my own comic book, and there's just something about like real illustrations and just the real pen and paper and all that kind of stuff. Okay, the New Globe Theatre presents Fairies' Fortunes Founded by William Shakespeare. And look at this. Look at that. That guy in the corner there was his 3D glasses, like all wizardy. I bet you some of you out there are that archetype. Okay, come, bring your squire. Step with us through these gates to venture to her presence, half divine, and scry there many vasty empires' secret fates. Let our talks be unknown, our words erase. In none such palace, none such did take place. And then this is being watched. So, of course, the story within a story. So the play within a play. Yes, and my own comics actually deal with Atlantis. And the story is about the dragon warriors in the ancient future time. So this idea that, you know, we're creating our past. We're dreaming our ancestors. So it's like depending on us to do the restart so that we remember who we are and what does it mean to activate, that kind of stuff. So they're watching this story, so I will share. Yes, Steph. That's why I'm gearing up with this, because every work of art, right, is, oh yes, definitely. You can even be in it because it's based on real people. It's based on real life. So whatever your superpowers are basically indicated by who you are in your own genetic code. So both your gene keys as well as your astrology, which is related to that, right? So for example, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn are all earth signs, and you're going to have more of an affinity for earth magic versus Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, which are more fire signs, and you may have more an affinity for fire magic. Now, remember what I told you guys at the beginning of this live, that you're going to have different astro stacks. So how your powers all match up, all are you. Like, it's like, that's why I say to people, like the X-Men, for example, that's like my biggest example I do as a metaphor. You have Jean Grey, Emma Frost, Psylocke, and Professor X. They're all very powerful psychics. Now, each of their powers operate in a different way, right? So Emma and Jean, for example, me and my girlfriend, she loved Emma and I loved Jean, because probably our own psychic powers are similarly based, because there's mental side power, right? Being much like creating mental constructs. And then Jean Grey's powers come from empathy. So feeling things, you know, like the hairs on the back of your neck standing up. So that is being an idea of having clairvoyance. Oh my gosh. Which of these objects is used for sun protection? I don't know. I can't even see. Guitar. I don't like these new things. I don't know, that's wrong. Which of these objects have a crown? Oh, pineapple. Oh my gosh, unable to verify. Are you kidding me? Can be a fedora or a cap. Okay, this. Confirm. Okay, got it. I don't like these new ways of, I'm fishies. Oh, you're Pisces. Oh, you're very connected to the dreamscape then. Yeah, I always say that most Pisces people, if you have Pisces sun, moon, or rising, you're going to have a little touch of the psychic. A little touch of that magic. And I do think that's why sometimes Pisces people can medicate. Substance abuse can be a thing because, you know, if you're getting all those messages all at once, it's the veils can be very thin for you naturally. So that's why even in the psychedelic space, right, you are dissolving all those your ego, and you go into this limitless space. But for us to function in this realm right now, in this story right now, you need to remember what role you're playing here. So yes, you are everything. You are the universe. You are the stars, the sun, the moon, and everyone. But you are also you, and you're playing you at this time right now. And so it's important to be lucid in that, right? it's good to dream in color. And it's, you know, to take this back to science fiction, that's why Lovecraft wrote like color out of space, because it's supposed to be a color that's indescribable. And so when you dream, comic books are a wonderful way to bridge the gap between that dream world and being able to be like, hey, this is what I saw in that trippy space, right? So look, I drew it. Like, I think that's the danger with AI art, right? If we depend too much on like the prompts and in us being able to do the work and time it takes to synthesize and bring that into form, right? So Tristan Stroud, I don't know if we all dream in colors. I think that sometimes, how should I put it? Like when you can see sound, right? And what you see sound as is not really a color. It's more of like a feeling. So if you like, it's like your different senses all kind of merge into one. So Tristan, good point about colors. I don't think all dreams are always in color, or you may have certain, like, you know, when you're video editing, like movies, how you have a color grade on your certain dreams. Like some dreams may be like fuzzy and a little bit out of focus, and some dreams are like vivid, HD, high def. I can see every pore, that kind of stuff. I've never had a black and white dream. Interesting, Tristan. Watch. Tonight you might. Comics help explore the unknown and face the biggest evil. Exactly. And us being able to look at it. That's why horror movies, that's why artwork exists, to help us cognitively deal with some tough stuff, right? So that we can have thought experiments, so that we can imagine what it would be like to go through it ahead of us actually going through it, right? Which is why I think psychedelics themselves, a big gift from them is how they help us deal with the anxiety around death, like at least for me personally, because there's such an awareness that you know that death is just a door. It's just, we are in a cycle of eternal, of what it means to be eternal, and it's just us, like, just no different than us ending a story. Just because you end the story doesn't mean like it's over. You can always go back and revisit, right? But there's also new stories that need to be recreated, and you can't keep reading the same book over and over and over. Well, you can do whatever you want, but if you want to be open to new ideas and thoughts and experiences, and what the universe is here for us to do is to know ourselves, right? So oh my goodness, realistic and vivid. Tristan, what sign are you? Are you a dreamer sign? You know what my nickname was in high school? Sleepy 90s. I used to sleep in class and get 90s, so that was my nickname. Napping, you know. Oh yes, that's a very powerful power, to be able to weep. Oh, of course you are, my friend. If you're a water sign, I feel like sometimes the dream world can be even more real than this reality, and you may not be wrong. Okay, and Angel Martinez, thank you for the gifts, and thank you for joining. And David, thanks for the follow. Okay, so I'm going to read you a little bit more of this, and then I'm going to wrap. So, I was reading Upside Down. That's so funny. So if you guys read any Dr. Manhattan comic books, the panels are all like trippy to show how Dr. Manhattan also views time. So it's like sometimes upside down and all that. But that is not this book. That's... okay, so they're watching this like 3D Shakespeare play. And she's saying, that's Orlando and Prospero, taken to Queen Gloriana by spy chief Jack Wilton and Bastian Bond. A youthful Prospero. Interesting. So they're talking about what I just told you guys, the Shakespeare play of Tempest. So knowing that play is going to give you more perspective on this work. However, not knowing the Tempest is not going to take away from you understanding this story. That's the beauty of it. And then going on to the play, it seems like bosoms or a brace of knots 2 O's within a 7 bracket. Then 2 O's and a 7 is your sign, and to this mark are all your payments writ. This scene is freaking boring. It seems like they're talking about taxes and stuff. I don't know. So that was Prospero's code number originally. Oh, they're actually looking at the play for code right now. So the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen are actually using the Shakespeare play to get intel for their mission. Oh my gosh, that's fun. So she's saying that was Prospero's code number originally. That's an odd coincidence. As a strategist, I have learned to mistrust coincidences. So let's repeat that, friends. As a strategist, I have learned to mistrust coincidences. The mariner, bedraggled and in debt, your spirits and yourselves, not to forget the courtesan, nor the sweet deluded knight, nor pilgrim with his bundle knotted, hurled that duel precede you to a blazing world. Most lovely queen, I am confounded quite. Now Gloriana's assembling Prospero's men, forerunners of my own group. She was certainly prescient. Didn't this happen in 1558? Hardly knew themselves at all, and this may willingly act fairies' plan. How would thy mother, lushly fingered Anne, or thy great uncle Oberon rejoice to know thy scheme? Know that thy cunning choice gifts fairies wish since history began. And then that's unsettling. With Orlando and Prospero dismissed, the fairies are discussing plans. Long-term plans by the sounds of it. And the fairies continue. A blazing world, door to a different plane. There Prospero goes, nor shall his league remain, but in time follow to another state. Till when the years have their hundreds passed, till other men, else women lead thy band. Else women? She's talking about me. Something is wrong here. I feel the same way. Let's rejoin Prospero and our companions. Is this blazing world shall take their stand, a bridgehead tween our world secured at last. Now sleep. There are dark days to come ere then, our bright kind scourged by new kings and their men. Burned out from woodland, drives off from fen, and would I know dreams moonlit towns again. Intermission. And then look at it, just jumps to like the way, so speaking of dreams being in color or not in color, just like how this like is just in not color, also mangas typically are not in colored or colored. The Killing Joke actually that came out that was written by Alan Moore was not initially colored when it first came out as well. Tasman, thank you for the tiny tinies. I appreciate that. So I'm going to do a little bit more and then I'm going to wrap it for now. Please do join my Discord channel, or server rather, as well as Patreon, because I'm going to have a lot of stuff, members only, all that good stuff there as well. I am going to still keep all of these fun lives with you guys in terms of TikTok, but I'm going to have a lot more benefits for all those of you guys who are subscribed and all of that kind of stuff as I've gotten a bit more organized with my reads and my characters and all that kind of stuff, and infusing astrology into it, all that kind of stuff. So where do I want to leave this? Oh yeah, there's some stuff here. Like, look at these kind of images. It's kind of cool, right? The lady with the stars in her hair. I'm like, what does this mean? I pronounce you Super Marvel Queen and King of the Spaceways. The ship's backup generators are on standby. You may kiss the bride. And then, so I don't really have the context of any of this because, as I said, like this is a serialized comic, but this would have just been in like the paper, like the weeklies back in the 60s, and kids would have just been able to like get a hold of it. So comic books in this format, this idea also like TV shows where you have a bigger story arc and then little more serialized pieces that give you information. Oh wait, here's I think what I wanted. There is something trippy here about, I wanted to read you before we wrapped. Dracula, no, give me 2 seconds, guys. Da-na-na-na. What's happening at 3:08 a.m.? Okay, let me just read you that. So this one right here, we'll go from here. Just put it out there. They call him Mind Man. Psychically empowered before birth, arriving in a London overwhelmed by chaos. The one thing my remarkable brain doesn't know is what's happening at 3:08 a.m. It's obsessed me since agreeing to visit England with James Logan only hours ago. So, we'll cross the Atlantic to assist Gareth and Satin? Certainly, but I'm picturing the time, 3:08 a.m., and I don't know why. Well, to be in London by then will require abilities Jim Logan doesn't have. You'd better stand back. You know, Matthew, this feels so strange. I haven't pronounced this word in decades. Galap. I am reading The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, a piece of the Tempest. Oh, yeah, by Alan Moore, by the way. And look, he transforms. So he says galap. This is very much similar to like Shazam, you know, like say the magic word and then you transform. But it's probably more than that, right? It's your intonation. I once read you guys a comic book where Constantine switches bodies with Shazam. And he does this by like taking like his vocal cords, so he has like Billy Baston's voice and he goes like Shazam and transforms. So there's some stuff there about your throat chakra and like your own magic word in transforming. That's what I think. So he says galap and then he transforms and he says, I covered my eyes for the flash of the transformation, but still telepathically saw what he saw. Those immortal presences gravely staring down, or gazing down rather. After almost 50 years, it was the return of Captain Universe. Soon we soared over oceans boiling with mythical creatures. This is unbelievable. What is going on? I sense it's connected to the events in London. What those events were, I could not say. I only registered some inhuman entity swooping through the night as we were closing implacably on the destination. Other than this, there was just that incessant deadline echoing again and again through my unbearably sensitive consciousness. 3:08 a.m. 3:08 a.m. 3:08 a.m. And if you add the 3 and the 8 together, it gives you 11, which is basically a gate, right? Da-na-na-na. Reaching London, my anxieties worsen. Holy space. Let's make for the little Monmouth Street. No, I'm visualizing some sort of spy headquarters in Vauxhall. I know the place. Matthew, I sense this nightmare is global. Agreed, but the catastrophe facing Valhalla at 3:08 a.m. beggars belief. We must hurry. Well, we're here, with seconds to spare. Captain, given the scale of what's about to happen, I fear we may already be too late. It's exactly 3:08 a.m. We're powerless to even prevent this. With the Pythagoras granted power of bilocation, or even polylocation, it is never too late. And so, I'm going to show you guys this panel because it's pretty trippy. Wait, this way, that way. See that last panel? How trippy is that? Okay. Just wanted you guys to see it. And then now look. He's doing like his multiplying himself because he's Captain Universe, right? Hope you're receiving this, Matthew. Governing the strong and weak nuclear forces, I'm minimizing the blast and neutralizing its radiation. Soon, it will be over. Within moments, I watch as James Logan recombines into a single entity, revealing the pulverized dust of the century-old intelligence building. Captain, that was literally incredible. Well, it spared London nuclear devastation on top of its supernatural problems. Now, let's attend to little Monmouth street to street. Satin and Gareth should be safe in our star chamber against London's manifesting mythology. The werewolves and spring-heeled jacks? Let's hope so. Though I suspect our ordinary human monsters put such things to shame. We streaked towards Fitzrovia, my feelings of something overlooked brushed aside. Oh yeah, indeed. Oh yes, Ross, yes, the Batgirl versus Riddler, I can definitely do that. I think I have to reread it because I think I had it saved in a different area, which like I was having computer issues over the last 2 days with my Wi-Fi. But that one I'm going to do a special reread of that tomorrow actually, and I'll repost it directly. So that story, Ross, with Batgirl and Riddler is actually a really cute one because this doesn't spoil it, but Riddler has a crush on Batgirl. So he's like trying to like court her in like his Riddler way. it's a good one, and Riddler's very Irish in it too, so it's a good one. So I will reread that one, and I'll repost that one as well. So stay tuned for that one tomorrow. I'll do that one as Batgirl, because Batgirl and the Birds of Prey. I was actually going to do that tonight, but I was divinating in terms of what stories to come. My YouTube is Rachel Zabrina. I think it's just one word. Hold on. Do I have that as a URL yet? And then I have another channel that's strictly just the reads, but that has I'm still organizing all that kind of stuff. I have a lot of characters and a lot of reads I've done, and I have, I'm sure you creators out there can appreciate this, right? Like, you like the performing aspect, you like the filming aspect, you like the doing of it, but then it's like, post-production, organizing things, cataloging them. Oh my gosh, so much work. So, but I have gotten better on that with tapping into my inner Barbara Gordon and her love of libraries and cataloging as well, because that's the beauty of libraries. Can you imagine if all the books were just freaking everywhere? You didn't have a science fiction section, you didn't have like self-help section, you didn't have like a religion section, you didn't have like non-fiction versus fiction, just be all over the place. Rachel Sabrina with a Z, yes, that's why I'm Rachel Z, right? And the Z has a double entendre meaning as well, the lightning bolt, right? This idea of bridging heaven and earth together, right? So let me see. I'm not going to keep reading this. I think I'm going to wrap it for now. Oh, I wanted to show this, like the old school, like, way they did the superhero posters, because I want to do that for us as well. Cheated champions of childhood. I love the alliteration. Need this. These guys look like kind of like a riff on the Fantastic Four. If you guys look at it, I'll put you guys here. I'll show you guys all the esoteric art that's locked in comic books, right? Because you would never think to look in comic books for secrets of the universe, right? But they're there. Okay, guys, so I'm gonna wrap there. I was going to read you guys a little bit of Moon Knight, but TBD, we might bring that in a little bit later. The illustrations in this are also really trippy. Who wrote this one? I'm not as familiar with Moon Knight, but I know that Moon Knight also deals with like Egyptian mythology and Egyptian myth themselves. There's a lot to that can be unpacked because stories tend to trigger people, right? Like a lot of people are like, well, don't look there. If you look at that story, then what the heck? It's why all the books were burned in Alexandria, right? We forget about our history. We forget about how truly galactic and beautiful and magical our human history truly is, right? And so I welcome you guys to have some great dreams tonight. Report back. I will be back tomorrow. We'll do Batgirl tomorrow. TBD if Nightwing will join me, and we'll do a little magic musical set. And just be sure to ensure that you join my Discord channel or Discord server, follow me on YouTube, all the other places. I also do readings. I originally had like a calendar and I was doing it on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and like I was really still keeping my old corporate self as I was doing this work, right? More magical work. And I do realize, oh, Chad, no worries. Yeah, I'm on a little earlier than I usually am. But don't worry, my schedule is very soon going to be much more tight in terms of like being like a new Earth network, right? Think of like old shows like YTV back in like the 90s where you like Buffy the Vampire Slayer or Power Rangers, where like every day or every Tuesday at 6 p.m. you can catch Kida from Atlantis giving you a story from Atlantis, that kind of stuff. Goosebumps was good. You know what? Animorphs, if you guys read those books too, the show wasn't as good as the books to me, but those are really like the Scholastic book fairs. Are You Afraid of the Dark? Yeah. So also scary stories, those are fun to share as well, like ghost stories. I love anthology series like Twilight Zone or The Outer Limits. Remember that show? Oh my gosh, Outer Limits was fun. Also, Tales from the Crypt. It's so crazy how many actors have actually been in Tales from the Crypt. I saw one the other night that had Brad Pitt in it, and he was like, it's funny because horror has its own rules to it, right? Like, bad things happen to like good people, sure, but really messed up things will happen to really messed up people, because there's this idea of like cosmic justice. And you know, if you do messed up stuff, and I know that people sometimes have a discomfort with karma, but I welcome you guys to just look at your own definitions, your own glossary of terms, in your own meaning making, right? Because you are going to be able to dictate that. And so I will wrap up this live with also presenting you guys my dream dragon eggs. So I make dream dragon eggs, and they are basically meant to be hatched in your dreams. So think of it as like protectors in your dreams, like Falcor from the Neverending Story, or this idea of like portals, right? So dreams are like portals. So are things like your eyes, your ears, any way by which there's like an entry into something. And so each egg, right? Think of like symbolically egg of potential. And in my comic book, the dragons represent elements, or they represent fundamental aspects of things. It's a way of encoding laws of the universe in an educational way, but also in a story, and also astrology. So book 2 in the Dragon Wars universe takes place in a cyberpunk synthwave 80s retro future. It's like a musical. I'm getting it funded on Indiegogo, so that should be up by end of the month. Let's see. And then I'm going to try to have funding on how you guys can be involved in it, as well as like places to film and all that kind of good stuff. But the third book is the comic book, and the first book is just a young adult novel, which I wrote when I was 14 in 1999. So the metallic dragons are like the dragons of silver, gold, copper, brass, and they all have certain qualities to them and how they interact with other elements, right? So, or like plasma dragons, fire dragons. So it's like this whole idea of all of that kind of stuff. All right, guys. Irving, your message got censored for some strange reason. Have a good night. I'm actually saying good night right now too. So I hope you guys have had a beautiful thing. Copper's got some good stuff in it. Copper is also sacred to Venus as well. And malachite, if you guys are familiar with that crystal, really good for like clearing like negative psychic energies and all that. It's green, right? And it's actually the raw form of copper. So that's an interesting connection there, because your heart chakra is supposed to be green, and you don't think of copper as being, yeah, and copper also, in terms of making copper, there's ways of assisting the earth with growing, and copper coils with copper. So thank you guys for joining. There's like a lot of stuff in. I kind of went all over the place with everything. I hope you guys enjoyed us talking a little about Shakespeare, the Tempest, Atlantis. I didn't get into too much Atlantis stories. I do know in both the DC and Marvel universe, Atlantis does exist, and it does deal with like magic technologies, all that kind of stuff. So we'll talk a bit more about that in like upcoming lives, but I wanted to seed some fun magic or ideas in you tonight. I hope you've found something that inspired you. I hope you remembered some of the stories that you want to revisit and go back into those worlds and pull out what's meant for you and interface it with maybe some new stories that are coming out right now, because it's such a magical time right now. We've got a lot of cosmic alignments, and so what it's going to mean for you is like, write down your dreams. You may think you're going to remember them, but trust me, you never do, because I'll think, oh my gosh, I'm going to remember that. Or even write down your old memories, right? As soon as something happens, like, what story does that tell, right? So, and remember, your own sacred stories become part of your own mythology, and your own mythology is one that you do have power to control, right? And it's not about controlling other people's. It's about, harnessing your own soul mission and like playing as the beautiful creature that you are, right? So guys, it takes true courage for you to be exactly you in the game of life. Trust me, you got to be brave, baby. So go into that and be exactly you, because literally no one else can do it. No one else. Someone can try, like in D&D, where like you pilot someone else's character for a bit and you can maybe do a little bit of that, but no, you gotta be exactly you, 100% balls to the wall you, because you know what? The universe is counting on you. But no worries, I have got your back. So until next time, friends, I hope you have a beautiful one, and I will catch you all in the next live. Bye.